Welcome back to Room 442. Sharman and Singh here. Mikey, yesterday at the Toronto FC press conference, you mentioned that with some additional signings, obviously Lorenzo Insigne arriving this week, you don't think it's unlikely that TFC could be a dark horse contender for this year's MLS Cup. It's kind of blown up on social media. Can you elaborate further to that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the club's plans all along, James, were to set themselves up long term, to be good long term. But the way that things have kind of worked out heading into this summer is there's going to be more significant arrivals than perhaps they anticipated. Some things have worked out in their favor. And I'll go as far as saying is if everything goes right for Toronto FC, as much as we loved seeing the young kids play in the first half of the season, there won't be any young kids in the starting 11 for Toronto FC if everything goes right. And in order to displace those young kids, you have to make fairly significant additions. So again, there is still some work to be done to get everything across the line they want to get across the line, but it could be a much different looking Toronto FC side in the summer when you consider Lorenzo Insigne, Crescito, and then I'm hearing two more.
Two more. Okay, it's interesting because obviously with DP spots accounted for right now. We discussed it last week. Pozuelo potentially moving out in the off-season. Who knows? Maybe before, but I think that's unlikely at this point. So are we talking TAM deals? Are we talking loan deals? What's the best way to improve this squad without trying to find some other way to get a DP type player into that salary cap?
For sure, yeah. I mean, the salary cap's definitely a snag for TFC. They don't have as much salary cap, I think, as many people anticipated when they acquired so much allocation money with, the Mark Delgado trade, a little bit with Kamar Lawrence, and Oro being loaned out, just salary off the books as well. But they don't have as much as maybe one would anticipate. So ways to get around that, of course, a loan deal would be a potential way to get around that. But they do have some allocation money left over as well. And the good thing about the summer transfer window is when you bring a player in, it counts as half of the salary cap. So let's say they're $500,000 on the cap. In the summer, if you bring them in, they're only $250,000 on the cap, which is why they had to wait until the summer to kind of make a lot of these moves because they're maneuvering around the salary cap. So yeah, allocation money deal, I think at least one of them is in the cards, and then maybe another loan deal as well.
Bill Manning said at the press conference how during COVID, obviously the club was hit on numerous reasons. Number one, of course, not being at home. Players being away from families. It really affected the team. But do you think up high in the offices at MLSE, they're looking around the league, looking at teams like LAFC spending all this money on these big names and thinking there's a good chance that TFC could fall further behind unless they invest? This 5-year plan that Bill Manning talks about, it seems crucial that the ownership of this club want to be very much one of the big players in Major League Soccer once again.
Yeah, I think they're a really ambitious ownership group. Everyone hears the stories about Larry Tenenbaum, a guy who doesn't really care too much about money, more so about his team's winning. And they have one of the more supportive backings in the league when you talk about their ownership. MLSE, I mean, you look at Lorenzo Insigne's contract, reportedly around $15 million a year. OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors makes more money than that. So you look at the impact Insigne's had globally for this club. Bill Manning said yesterday it's raised the profile of Toronto FC to a point we've probably never seen before. And that's not as much as someone like an OG Anunoby, who's like the 4th, 5th best player on the Raptors.
Of course, the naysayers would say, yeah, but the Raptors bring a lot more money into MLSE. But it does show that ambition, certainly. And we've seen that for a while, since the bloody big deal days, bringing good players in. And the cost is almost irrelevant if they're going to perform in the field.
Yeah.
And so far, TFC over the years have kind of hit pretty well on the big money signings. There's been a few busts here and there. Jermaine Defoe didn't work out, but then out of that, in comes Sevajevenko. So it works out well. You mentioned Crescito. I'm kind of getting a bit bored of this story. I mean, it's been linked for a long time. You've been writing about it for months. He's talking about it. The club haven't yet confirmed this happening, but what's the latest on the right back?
Yeah.
Left back, sorry.
Left back, yeah. Well, I believe he'll be landing in Toronto this afternoon. So Bill Manning actually said yesterday that they're finalizing the deal. He told TSN that, which is great because, as you mentioned, it's been a long time coming. And he could be announced as soon as today, Wednesday or Thursday, I think, at the latest. So, yeah, Domenico Crescito, it's all but done. He'll be wearing Toronto FC red come July 9th.
And what's your expectation for these other signings? By when do you expect news to start? Or when will you be scooping these stories and actually going public with them?
Well, we'll see kind of how it plays out. There are still some obstacles that TFC have to overcome in order to formalize some of these signings they want to do. None of it's guaranteed, but they are close to, I think, finalizing it. And I'm here maybe within the next week or two, we can start to kind of weed them out. But yeah, they're inching closer, and I think fans should definitely be excited, especially with the way that TFC as a team overall, they're trending.
Yeah, I think they'd be very happy indeed. Absolutely. So make sure you keep watching the parlay. Follow Mikey on all social channels and the parlay, of course. And the minute he can go public, he'll go public. Thanks, Mikey.